gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. It's a live stream to keep yourselves up to date for your entertainment tonight. Just off the bat, very quickly, if you do notice I'm sounding a wee bit under the weather, people might have picked. I feel like I've sounded like that in my last couple of videos. I've actually been quite ill this week, which is rare. I don't usually take ill, like usually it's a cold or something, but I'm ill. So if you're wondering if I sound downbeat or anything like that, don't worry, I'm happy as Larry. I don't know who Larry is. I don't know why we always compare ourselves to this fictional character, but I'm happy as Larry, and we're getting on with it, so don't worry, no excuses. But I wanted to do a live stream tonight because Celtic are back tomorrow, and I'll be at the game. I'll be at Somerset Park for, if I'm alive, for Ayr United against Celtic, which means I can't do a live stream tomorrow night. Saturday night is just pretty wasteful evening for live streams. Everybody's out doing their own thing. Why the fuck would you want to watch Ryan 118 on a Saturday night? And then Sunday night I've got ICW. I'm on commentary duty for the wrestling. So I thought tonight was the right time to jump in, do a live stream, catch up with you great people, and get through all of that. We've got a few things to talk about, including the progress with the IDAH situation, which we touched upon yesterday, amongst other things. So we've got a hell of a lot to keep ourselves busy. We'll obviously get into the Q&A with you as well. If you haven't already, please, may I urge you to go down below, hit like and subscribe. We are now, I think, like 20 subscribers away from 44,000, which is absolutely incredible. If you haven't, please go down and hit that, whether you're watching live or in video form later on, because we're nearly at 44,000. So one step closer to the big 50k. And thank you for everybody joining in so far. What a start, by the way. Nearly 200 live viewers. The chat is packing. Nice to see you. Colin, Paul, Helen, Plank Ensemble, Christopher, Ronan, and everybody else that's in there. We're going to have a wee bit of a chat tonight. We're going to have some fun. But before we get into that, may I quickly as well just say thoughts and prayers and condolences with the Burns family, who sadly have suffered such a tragic loss over the past few days. In case you didn't know, the wife of Tommy Burns, Rosemary, had sadly passed away, I think on the 3rd yesterday, the 3rd of July, which is absolutely devastating and heartbreaking news. Of course, Tommy Burns, an absolute legend within the Celtic family, and everybody extended from him and connected to him. So prayers with Rosemary's family at this time. It's a real shame. So I just thought I would get that very, very quickly out there. And I'm sure that everybody is feeling that the same emotion right now. Such tragic news. Celtic are back tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. We take on Ayr in our first pre-season friendly, the opening of a new stand at Somerset Park, which Celtic have been invited along to help open on its maiden game. I'll be there. I'm sure plenty of you watching will be there as well. I think there's a lot of tickets out for Celtic fans. I'm looking forward to seeing us play again, despite it probably being the B team. I'm still looking forward to getting back and watching Celtic firsthand. Of course, nothing done yet in terms of transfers, so we're not expecting to see any new faces tomorrow, but I think we're hopefully going to see them introduced over the next couple of weeks. So we'll talk about that game a little bit more tomorrow. Of course, the Ayr United game, we'll talk about that on the channel in tomorrow's video. Today, let's cover some of the stuff. So IDAH, we'll get this done and out the way very quickly, so we don't need to dwell too long on it, but it's looking like IDAH will be a permanent Celtic player very, very soon. It was a roller coaster of emotions yesterday. Around 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon, the news emerged that IDAH was finally in... Well, not him himself, but Norwich were finally in talks with Celtic to get that deal done. It was announced that Celtic had made their first official bid and inquiry into signing the player. Then at 6 o'clock yesterday, it was confirmed that Norwich City actually rejected Celtic's opening offer for the striker. It was said it was knocked back, they'll have to do better. But then late last night, around 10:30, Scott Burns gave us a very promising and uplifting update on the IDAH situation, which was was definitely better news than the previous update of the bid being rejected. This was the headlines that were put out last night around 10:30, as I said, from the Daily Record and Scott Burns. Adam IDAH is now on the brink of a Celtic transfer as he's made his stance clear to try and force the Norwich exit. Scott Burns goes on to say that Adam IDAH is on the verge of a return to Celtic. Talks between the clubs are now at an advanced stage. There has been significant progress made by Celtic and a deal is close. IDAH is expected to be given permission to travel north for talks, a medical, and to put pen to paper. The Republic of Ireland star has made it clear to Norwich City that he wants to rejoin Celtic this summer. Just a few more details in surrounding, the situation with the new manager and such, but the main thing is the priority is this paragraph of the article here, that the talks are now at an advanced stage. Significant progress has been made from that news that the first bid was rejected. And IDAH is going to be travelling north very, very soon to get a medical, put pen to paper, and officially sign for the club. So some fantastic news coming out late last night. I think some people were getting a little bit nervous after hearing that Celtic's initial bid was rejected. There was the usual reaction of Celtic lowballing, Peter Lawwell being a penny pincher, of Celtic just generally not doing their business. The initial reports suggest that the first bid was around £4 million plus add-ons, which was rejected by Norwich City. I'm assuming that Celtic have went back in with a significantly better offer. If talks are now at an advanced stage, they must be meeting them along the lines of what they're actually wanting. I think it's probably a deal that might reach upwards of £5 million, maybe closer to £6 million. There hasn't been an actual number given out yet in regards to how much this will total cost. I think it'll be £5.5–6 million, if I'm being quite honest, along with those add-ons that were probably included in the original deal. But a lot of people, crying and complaining that Celtic didn't go out and just pay the money straight up. I, for once, am not going to be on that bandwagon, and it might come as a surprise. Yes, Ryan One Way, honest bold criticiser. Look, listen, the deal is now at an advanced stage. Adam IDAH is going to be a Celtic player. He's made it clear. He's forcing his way out of Norwich City. This move was always going to happen. So, Celtic probably doing the smart thing to go out and try and not so much lowball them, because I don't think 4 million is lowballing Norwich City. I don't think it's being disrespectful in any stretch of the imagination. I think it's just Celtic trying to get the best value for money in this situation. And as they should, because if Celtic were to go out and offer £6 million straight away, what happens if Norwich City turn around then and go, no, we want more? Then we're just paying more and more money. I think that with this move being inevitable, this move was always going to happen, pending, a successful medical, which was probably going to be the case. Go out and offer 4 million. See what Norwich City then want from there and negotiate from your lowest point. They were never going to go and offer £1–2 million. Never going to happen. And listen, what is the first rule of business, right? I'm not a business student. I don't know if many people in this chat are. You never accept the first offer. Norwich City were never going to accept the first offer, no matter if it was £4 million or £10 million. They would try their best to get more money out of that deal. So, yes, I hear the criticism. Celtic have got more money now than they ever have, but sometimes you've got to add logic to the thinking. Celtic are going to want to use that money, explore other options and other positions. They want to have as much money as possible. The deal was inevitable. The transfer of Adam IDAH to Celtic was always going to happen, and Celtic had every right to go and test the waters with a bid that wasn't as high as £6–7 million straight off the bat. If anything, for once, I think the Celtic board have went about it in the right way. So I have seen a lot of people complaining, and I get it, but listen, there is more money to be spent in this window. There is other areas that the club need to improve on. Why should Celtic go out and spend £6–7 million on a first bid that might get rejected when they can test the waters with a lower offer? It's just strategic business. That's all it is. And I know we're so annoyed about the way that we're so shrewd at Celtic, but That's how it works. And it has worked, evidently, because now we're hearing that he's on the verge of the transfer. So don't get your knickers in a twist. Adam Idah will be here very, very soon. Hopefully next week. If the bid gets accepted and the contract talks go swimmingly, then I assume that we could have Adam Idah as a permanent Celtic player before we jet off to America, which would be very handy to take him on that tour. So yeah, we'll get more about that very, very soon. Adam Idah, it's all going pretty well. I see a lot of comments coming in. I'll have a look at a couple of them. Patrick Kerrigan taking the words out of my mouth, saying that you test the waters with a lower bid. Absolutely. Let's see, what else have we got? Mark McLaughlin saying 80 million in the bank. The board should just put a chunk of that into new players. Of course, I'm hoping that's exactly what we'll do. David Turnbull saying on the flip side of things, what if we offered 4 million and Norwich took it disrespectfully and it ruined the move? It would never have ruined the move. Adam Idah has made his point perfectly clear. He wants to move. He wants to go to Celtic. He would have forced his way out the door, and they were never going to. So if they did offer 4 million and Norwich went, that's disrespectful. It's not career mode. It's not Football Manager. It's not like Celtic are locked out of negotiations for 2 weeks. This is real life. The deal would have been done. They might have thought it was a disrespectful opening bid. That's the whole point in negotiations. That's the whole point in business. And Celtic have probably done something here that has allowed them the best value for their money, which I think is the case. Celtic fans saying that we should never be signing Adam Idah. I don't think that's a very popular opinion at the moment, but fair enough. Everybody's entitled to their own. Kevin saying if we just started giving teams what they want and every club would just reject the bid until we met their asking price. Exactly. Do you know, like, it's the same at every level in football. Just because, and this is the thing, and by the way, I'll get this one out the way because he's my man, Damo. I love you. I have Adam Idah on my Diddy, says Damo. I love how you've spent a fiver to tell us that, Damo. That's just incredible stuff. But thank you. I appreciate it. And I hope you and Adam are having an absolutely wonderful time. But just to come back to this point very quickly before we talk about the other stories and we get into the Q&A, right? Because I like this comment. You know, think about teams that just because big money is involved doesn't mean other clubs aren't doing this. Manchester United, for example, are in a battle right now with Bologna to try and get Joshua Zirkzee. I think Bologna wants something along the lines of 50 million euros for the player. Do you think Manchester United went out and went, there you go, there's your 50 million euros straight away? Of course they didn't. This has been negotiations been going on for 2 weeks now. They've been going back and forth with numbers because that's the point in business. We might criticise the board, and don't get me wrong, the board 99% of the time deserve their criticism. I have been very open about that on this channel. I am not a board happy clapper, never have been, never will be. But this is football, and it happens at every level. Teams just don't go out and go, oh, there you go, and throw money away. Absolutely not. Negotiations is a key part of transfers, and it happens at every level, no matter if you're spending 4 million on a player or 400 million on a player. It's just how football and business works. It's not as easy as what a video game makes it look like. Put it that way. So yeah, we'll come on to the Q&A in a minute, but that's everything about Adam Idah for now. We've got a couple other things to quickly talk about. Yesterday we spoke about the story with Wilfred Ndidi. I said, nonsense, never going to happen. I was right. Nonsense and never going to happen. All Nigeria Soccer are reporting that there was no truth in that report from the Daily Record suggesting that Ndidi wanted to join back with Brendan Rodgers. The story did not come from either Ndidi or his representatives, and apparently he is set to sign a new contract at Leicester City. It was a nice dream, and I told you don't get your hopes up about it because it was never going to bloody happen, and it seems that we've got confirmation of that exactly. I don't know how much truth would have ever been involved in the whole wanting to link back up with Brendan Rodgers thing. I don't know if we'll ever actually get any confirmation on that, but what we do have confirmation on is he's not going to be at Celtic, and I told you that yesterday, and I could have told you that, you know, every day of the last month, that we would never get Wilfred Ndidi. So that's been confirmed by All Nigeria Soccer. And then finally, the last little kind of story that includes Celtic and something that's actually happened is that Marco Tilio has extended his loan with Melbourne City. You've probably heard about this by now. It's probably not breaking news to you, but Melbourne City have re-signed Marco Tilio on a further loan deal after the initial deal that kept him there or got him there in January. He will now be there a little bit longer. Melbourne City fans seem to be absolutely buzzing about it. His transfer to Celtic has just made absolutely no sense. It's not happened for him. And when I say it's not happened for him, it genuinely feels like the transfer didn't happen. We've seen him on 2 occasions, I think, in competitive football, both for very short amount of time, and I don't think that he has much of a future at Celtic. I don't think he'll ever come back and play for Celtic. I think once this loan deal is done, there will be options on the table to try and get him back to Australia permanently. But he came in being Australia's most expensive sale ever from any Australian club coming to Celtic. Very highly rated. It's just not worked for him here. I think it was a very much an Ange Postecoglou signing, and one that Brendan Rodgers hasn't been too keen on. But listen, you know, if he's playing at Melbourne City and he's not getting the move elsewhere, maybe it's his level. I don't know. Best of luck to him. I hope he smashes it in the loan deal. And who knows, maybe if he plays well enough, he will come back with an opportunity for him to play here. But he is going there for another year to Melbourne City on loan. And that's basically it for the news, for all confirmed news or rumoured news. It's time for the Q&A, because I am 16 minutes into yapping. We have almost nearly 400 live viewers. I very much appreciate that. If you haven't, I please urge you, drop down below, hit like and subscribe. We're so close to 44,000 subscribers. Get your questions in. If you want to donate as well, you can. That's always an option if you want to. On election day, may I add, has everybody voted? There's a question. I have voted. I have exercised my civic duty to vote. So yes, right, let's get into questions. Anyone know any Celtic or Irish pubs in the US for the pre-season? Where? It's a very large country. You know, I'm sure if you're in Los Angeles, Celtic Supporters Club in New York isn't going to be much use to you. What I would recommend is looking up on the Celtic Bars website. So go into Google, type in Celtic Bars. They have a map that you can look at Celtic supporters clubs and pubs around the world, and you'll probably find something for where you're going for on that list. Let's update on the new goalkeeper. I've seen a couple of people in the chat floating things around about Peter Vindal Jensen. I've heard nothing from the last update that I gave on this channel. And that last update was that apparently he still is the primary target for Celtic, but there's been no update to suggest that Celtic are further in negotiations with Sparta Prague to make that happen. So nothing much. So as Kevin's pointed out here, there seems to be there must be rumours floating about on forums or something that Vindal Jensen is going to be the new keeper, but we'll wait and see, I suppose. So yeah, Celtic have not announced a new recruitment team and nobody's speaking about it. Trust me, I think people are speaking about it. It's just became sort of overshadowed in this fact that this is the summer period where the priority is on signings. And even though we've not got a recruitment team in to lead that charge in getting signings, I think Brendan Rodgers may have a very hands-on approach in this window. What we've heard about the players we've been realistically linked to, so guys I'm talking about here, Peter Vindal Jensen, Martin Dubravka, Chris Mepham, Daryl Shea. What we've heard about all these players who have been the ones that look most likely for Celtic to try and pursue, not saying necessarily sign, but these are the players that Celtic are most likely to pursue. Every time we've had an article or a story that's broke about these players, one of the key things that has been said is Brendan Rodgers is a key admirer of the player. I think that Brendan Rodgers has got a very big hands-on approach this summer in getting the signings he wants, while they also do the work behind the scenes to refigure and get that recruitment team done up. But it needs to be sorted soon. You're right, Peter. It's a crime that we've got to this point and we've still not got ahead of recruitment in, apparently, unless there's one there that we just don't know about. Which is always a chance, I suppose. But we'll have to wait and see. Let's see. I'm looking for questions. My bad. How many players do we need to sign? A few. I think at least 5. If I'm being quite honest. Well, we get 5, I don't know. That would include Ida and Bernardo as well, of course. And I would like another 3 on top of that. So I would say at least 5. Do you think there is sheer neglect, the fact that we've needed a left back for 2 to 3 seasons? Absolutely. We've neglected that area. And you can see that in January, especially when we happily went into February with 1 left back in the entire squad. So there has been absolute neglect right there. There's no denying that. Would I take Miovski and Ida? I don't know if there's much of a point. If one of them was happy to play barely any football, then yeah, I would. But is Miovski or Ida want to sacrifice that many minutes? Probably not. So from a realistic standpoint, I don't think there would be an option to take Miovski and Ida. To be quite honest, I am going to Ayr tomorrow. Yes, got tickets as soon as they were out, just so that I had the option, because I see a lot of people have been selling their tickets, etc. But I wanted to at least have the option to go to the game, so I got them. I got them very, very quickly. What do I think about the goalkeeper situation? I think that it needs solved soon. I would like a first team keeper to come in, so that they're settling in time for the first game of the season. I think that a few pre-season games would be incredibly beneficial for a keeper, so we're not having to throw somebody out there in the deep end and the pressure's on to impress in their first game. Listen, Kilmarnock is the first game of the season. Kilmarnock played well last year. They caused us a lot of problems. Whoever's going to be in goals in the first game is going to have to be prepared to make saves. You know, I know a lot of games up in Scotland, keepers kind of stand still for 90 minutes for Celtic, but against Kilmarnock that won't be the case. A keeper's going to have to be prepared, and I wouldn't like them to be that nervy way when it's their first game. So I think it's important we get them in for a few games of the season. Give us £5 if you tell us who you voted. I actually don't mind telling people who I voted, but I would feel terrible telling you for a £5 because I'm not a beg. So I'm not going to tell you. I don't want a £5 for telling you that. If you're giving me a £5, I want a £5 for the sheer appreciation of the channel, and that's all. Drink of choice for tomorrow, Ryan. I don't think I will drink, to be honest. I might have a couple beers, and that's it. I've went right after booze recently. You know, I've not been. I mean, I'm going to Santa Pons in a couple of weeks, and I'll change my tune then. But I've went right after recently. I don't know. Just Disney hit the same as it did when you were 18. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that in here, and they'll think I sound pathetic. I'm only 24, and I'm saying that. Forgot my age there. What's the script with Seagrace? He was in training yesterday, but I thought his contract was terminated 2 weeks ago. No idea, because he did say as soon as it was up, he's off. But I have no idea what's happening, to be quite honest. No idea whatsoever, to be quite frank. But I think he'll be off soon. I think that we'll see him off soon. Hello, Kian. Nice to see you. Don't worry about being late. You can always watch back the first 22 minutes of the stream that you've missed, of course. But you never need to be on time here. Let's see what else. When's McGinley's replacement? So yeah, I've seen a couple. I see Alistair asking where's the interview. So I've not sorted his replacement yet, and I'm probably not going to until following my holiday. Obviously, I go on holiday in a couple of weeks to Santa Ponza, and both Kieran and Callum will be with me. Kieran Auld and Callum Craig of the podcast. So I think during the day we'll sit with a beer and probably a couple of cigarettes. No, I'm joking. A couple of beers. And I think we'll sit there and we'll discuss what we possibly want to do. In terms of in who we're thinking and what recruitment strategy we're going to take. So it's not sorted yet. It probably won't be sorted till closer to the first game of the season. So the first few episodes of the season might just be me, Kieran and Callum, but we will try and have it soon. We'll see how it goes. What's the highest price you would pay for IDAH? Like £6 million, maybe? I think that's as high as I would go. But listen, I just want him in. Jordan, thank you for the £5. Appreciate the channel. I may as well tell you who I voted now. Is this going to alienate people if I tell them who I voted for? I voted for Reform UK. No, I didn't. I didn't fucking vote Reform. I've got brain cells. I've got an actual brain between my ears. It's not sponge in there. I decided to vote for the Socialist and Trade Union Coalition because I couldn't bring myself to vote for Keir Starmer. Because I think he's a wanker, quite frankly. Of course, I'm never going to vote Conservative or Reform. SNP, lost a little bit of faith in them in the last couple of years. The Greens were an option. I was tempted to vote for the Greens. So that was my thinking around it. I think it was a very ugly election, to be quite honest. But I voted for the Socialist and Trade Union Coalition. So yeah, I hope that doesn't alienate people. Listen, I've made it clear on this channel. I think people know by now that I identify as a socialist. I am a socialist, so it makes sense. I suppose if I could vote for Jeremy Corbyn, I happily would. Let's see. Right, enough politic chat because God, I don't want to I don't want to alienate people. It's not that deep on here, to be honest. If you voted Reform, I suggest giving your brain a rinse. That's all I would say. Sorry. I see a couple of people saying Reform in here, and I don't know if they're joking or not, which is worrying to me. Very worrying. Listen, politics are all entitled to your own opinions and such. I'm keeping it PG. I'm keeping it PC on here. I could say a lot worse about the just. You're just a Scottish Gary Neville. I love Gary Neville, right? I love Nevs, so I'll take that, to be quite honest. So I would love that. Right, questions. Right, we're getting into politics chat here. For Christ's sake, I don't want it. What have I got against Reform? We got all day. God, I've opened Pandora's box. Oh, thank God. God bless. I'm glad. I had a feeling you were, sir. Don't worry. I had a feeling you were. Yeah. I've got all day. I could go on all day, but I'm not going to, because that's not the type of channel. This isn't GB News, so you can go and find opinions over there, I think. Who's your Euros prediction? Like looking at any players in the... What? Who's your Euros? My Euros prediction is Germany. Do I like the look of any players in our price range? Right, okay, sorry, I was reading too quickly. I can't think of many in our price range, to be quite honest. Our price range is just, the unknown, really. But Germany for the predictions. I don't really think of many that can. Yeah. What do I think of it? Oh, there's a wrestling question. We're going to be back in the wrestling channel tomorrow, by the way. Got to be back on it tomorrow. Right, we've got about 5 minutes left, so can we get some Celtic questions in? Thanks. Instead of politics. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't mind talking politics. I fucking studied journalism at uni. I've had to get used to it over the years. Like, I'm rather clued up on politics, but not enough to actually sit and justify giving my views across, because I just think that would be foolish of me. I'm not a political commentator. Not yet, anyway. Probably never will be. Not my cup of tea. Couldn't do that all day. Miovski's not a better player than IDAH, says Jordan Eason. I agree. I simply put 2 words, IDAH better, in my personal opinion. But, how much do you see that with Yamal going for? What a player, only 16 years of age. If Barcelona ever... It is Barcelona he plays for, isn't it? If they ever need to part with him due to financial problems, I assume they would demand a hefty fee. If Barca are financially secure for the next 20 years, I imagine he'll be a for lifer at Barca unless he lets his contract expire. But obviously just need to see where that goes. But what a player for his age. It's unbelievable how good he is at this age, to be quite honest. Celtic fan thinks Miovski's a better player every day of the week. Yeah, listen, I don't think there's much between them. I do love Germany, and you Lennon Miller, yes or no? Yep, I've been mentioning his name a few times. He's a big yes from me, Lennon Miller. I would like to see him sign for Celtic. I think it would be a smart signing. Do I think he would come into the team right now and play straight away? Probably not. Probably loan him back to Motherwell or something for a year. But I think he would be a good future investment, especially with the likes of... He's a central midfielder, of course. With the likes of McGregor getting on a little bit, I think it would be a smart investment for the quota and just for the general quality of the player. I think he's a good player. He looks good. So Victor Valdez out of contract. What? He's not, is he? That's what Victor. He's not still playing. Surely Victor Valdez. I've spelled his name wrong. 42 years of age. Is he still playing? No, he's retired. Is this a different Victor Valdez? I was thinking a goalkeeper. He retired years ago, apparently. According to his Wikipedia, he retired in 2017 at Middlesbrough. Maybe it's a different Victor Valdez. Well, that's Victor Valdez with a Z, isn't it, actually? So maybe you're talking about somebody different. Maybe I'm being the idiot here, Stephen. I like the look of Peter Vindal Jensen. I would quite like us to sign Peter Vindal Jensen, to be quite honest. Have I heard Starfelt rumours? No. I haven't heard any Starfelt rumours. Is there Starfelt rumours? I've not heard them from anywhere. Which German city should I visit, says Jordan? The main one, I think the first city to go to, just for the amount there is to do, I think a smart thing is Berlin. There's just so much to do, so much to see. But on top of that, I would suggest Köln, Cologne, Dusseldorf. I've not been, but I want to go to Hamburg. I think Munich is a good one as well. Leipzig is a lovely town, not much to do. I would go Cologne and Dusseldorf in the winter because they're right beside each other. But if you've never been to Germany and it's your first time going, I would suggest maybe going to Berlin because there's just so much to do. And once you've ticked it off the list, you don't need to go back, even though I'm about to go for my 5th time in August. I love Germany. I love Berlin. I love the country. It's as simple as that. But Cologne is a wonderful city. I would highly recommend that as well. If you go to the kind of Cologne area, you've got a lot of North Rhine-Westphalia to explore as well. So, like, you're not too far from, as I've already mentioned, Dusseldorf. You've got Leverkusen, which is near. It's just a kind of small industrialist town. Leverkusen, you still got it. You've got Dortmund, you've got Gelsenkirchen, you've got a few other cities up in that region. So you're never too far away from a day out if you're up that way. Yeah, it's not. No, Dortmund's not a famously nice city. It's a very industrial city, Dortmund. Big in its football, big in its industry. I wouldn't make it an aim of mine to go visiting Dortmund for a few days. I would make it an aim to go to the game, but I would probably stay in like Cologne and try and train through a bus through. Dortmund is not. I've not been yet, but I know it's not the prettiest city in the world or anything like that. God, we've really stopped talking about Celtic tonight, haven't we? Hope people don't mind. Whatever I would like is to get a goalkeeper, a centre back, a left back, an O'Reilly replacement if he leaves, and probably another winger as well, a right winger. I think that would be a handy bunch of players to sign in this window. Stuart Armstrong, no from me. Hopefully McCarthy plays him, but here he might. You never know. McCarthy. If we see McCarthy tomorrow, we're in the end times. It's the last days of Rome. If we play McCarthy tomorrow, Lawal absolutely deserves a chance, and hopefully we see a few appearances for him through this pre-season. Right, I'm going to wrap it up there for this evening because we are 32 minutes in, and I usually wrap up at the half-hour mark. So thank you, ladies and gents, for tuning in this evening. It has been an absolute pleasure. I'll be back with a video tomorrow, hopefully, and we will go from there, and then just the usual, hoping for transfer news and talk and rumours and whatnot. So tune in, subscribe, and I'll be right here. So God bless, enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll watch as the election results roll in tonight. But until next time, see you later. Ta-ra.